Welcome to the Make It Happen with Will Polston podcast.
You hit the nail on the head. I think there's going to be a lot of people for a variety of different reasons, whether it's family related, whether it's work related, relationships related. I mean, there's so many factors that people are going to be having challenge with their mental health. People that have never, one of the things that I love hearing you say is that you have a saying about mental health. And I'm hoping that you're going to remember the thing that I'm talking about, that
everyone has a mental health.
There we go. I teed that up perfectly, didn't I? Everyone has a mental health. And it's so true. You know, a lot of people that we will talk about the stigma, because people think of, I mean, a lot of people, when they hear mental health, they think mental illness. And obviously there's a difference, isn't there? You know, people think like in a straitjacket and whatnot. They're two different things. But in terms of the mental health side of things, and I think a lot of people are going to be that maybe haven't experienced anxiety at extreme levels, haven't experienced this stuff. So what's your, whether it's some of your own platforms, what's your advice? Someone's listening to this right now, or more importantly, they know someone that is going through those challenges. What are your suggestions to direct them to places where they can benefit and hopefully overcome some of these challenges?
Right. Well, firstly, if you think, and that's a very good observation, Will, because there's going to be lots of unfortunate suicides, I think, more so than there was before, because life hasn't dealt us a great set of cards now. So if you are concerned by anyone, and please ask a question. Just don't be afraid to ask a question. I suggest that everyone gets a suicide awareness training. I suggest that everyone takes the mental health first aid 2-day training course, or a training course of first aid, because I think to have the ability and the awareness and the knowledge to be able to reach out to people. Just reach out. No one's saying, you can refer them to different services, there'll be millions of services local to you who are more than happy to help you along that way. But that first intervention could be very, very important. So if you feel someone's not doing very well, ask them. If you feel that someone's not being isolated or being different than they usually are, ask them. Just ask, Will. That's the thing, mate. Just reach out. Don't be afraid to do it, because you could be the catalyst between a very different outcome. So for me, look, let me just go back to mental health quickly. You said about mental illness, right? You'd be surprised. Now, I've done a few training courses when I was doing the drug stuff. One was called dual diagnosis, right? And that's mental health and drug abuse, or substance abuse, let's say, coupled together, right? So the diagnosis is you are addicted to whatever, and you also have a mental health issue. But one could create the other or add to the other. But what they don't do is, and I don't know if this is still the same, but in my experience, what happened in the treatment system is the community mental health team, CMHT, won't treat mental health illness while drugs are still being used, or alcohol, right? How can you stop that? Well, that's the problem. I can't stop that. So when we can't treat you until you stop that, but do you see what I mean?
Yeah, it's chicken and egg.
So it's chicken and egg. I'm not sure how that's working now. I think it may have changed slightly. But what I'm saying is the dual diagnosis training, it's basically also when you do mental health training, or when you do mental health assessments, it's a tick box, right? You ask, do you feel that you have these certain feelings for more than this long, right? Anyway, so the dual diagnosis, I ticked myself, I ticked 10 of the boxes, right? Although it's not over a 3-week period, but individually, I felt stuff like this 2 days at a time, or 1 day at a time, all this stuff. And I ticked, I thought, Christ, how many, and this is normal stuff, Will. This is not like rocket science. It's not like, not saying you necessarily, hearing voices. This is just emotional and mental states we can get into, right? I guarantee if you saw this form, you'd tick 10 things. You'd go, bloody hell, really? But you're not extenuating this. It's not extenuating into weeks, but we've all got a mental health. It brings it that. It's not necessarily illness. It's a mental health, being aware of your mental health, being aware of, that how you're reacting to certain situations and how you are letting your stressors override your normal, level of, let's say, hormone release. So the key, I think, is, especially about reaching out, is awareness, and be mindful of your own mental. So what I do in the morning is, I'm very good with it now, and I can run with it. I can let it go, run away with me, and I can sit in self-loathing if I want to for a bit of time, and then I'll say, right, I've had enough, and change my thinking. or change my state or whatever it is. But often people don't do that. They just automatically see. So I think the key is to be aware of how you are. If you're on normal autopilot and going straight into stress mode and overwhelm in this current climate, or, you know, fear of the future or whatever else it is, take a step back and say, right, okay, I'm reacting to this now, as opposed to responding.
Mm-hmm.
And the reaction is now making me feel anxious and unwell, fearful. So it's the key is awareness and being. So you start with awareness. You can make all the other changes you need to once you're aware. Because if you're not aware, then you're living on probably someone else's comparison.
You can find the full episodes of the Make It Happen with Will Polston podcast here on YouTube, on iTunes, Spotify, and all other major podcast platforms.